Today we are taking on the big task of winning Fulham, their first ever trophy, as they've never won one major trophy. The biggest one being the championship trophy, which is though not considered a major trophy. We won't rest though until Fulham not only win a trophy, but win the Premier League as well as the Champions League, the big one. Looking at this Fulham squad, there are certainly a few good players. Certainly Robinson is the best player in this squad. 26 years old, 82 rated. Leno in goal is 81 rated, the captain. He's already 32 though, so we need to keep that in mind. Bassi seems to be a good talent, 24.77. Anderson, 28.79. Castine, I'm not so sure about him. We have Tete on the bench, so we'll probably put him in the same age and 2 overall higher. Sunderberg in CDM along with Lukic. 2 kind of average midfielders, I've got to say. Pereira in that CM spot. And I've already also changed the formation. It was a 4-1-4-1 at the beginning. I didn't like it. I changed it into a 4-3-3 on defend. So apart from Robinson, maybe Bassi, Leno for now, and also Muniz, who I want to give a chance to. We could actually change the whole squad otherwise, other than those 3 or 4 players. I am giving us a rule though, as until we qualify for the Champions League, we can only bring in players who are 30 years or older. So the oldies can come in, but we cannot buy any players under the age of 30 until we qualify in the top 4. Let's say 4, even though sometimes you don't qualify for the Champions League, but if we finish in the top 4, we can buy younger players as well. We do have a good budget of 60 million, and we can spend it, of course, on players 30 years or older. I certainly would like to bring in a better centre midfielder than Pereira. We've got Kearney and King on the bench, not really great either. And probably a better right winger than Traore, as well as maybe, we've actually got 2 centre-backs. How old are they? Cuenca is 24, Diop is 27. Yeah, so the centre-backs, we are probably fine for the first season. Probably the most suiting tactic to this Fulham side is the counter-attacking build-up play, tactical preset. That is what we are choosing. Instead of having to buy a new right winger, I've simply converted Smith Rowe into one. He's 78 rated as a right winger, and he can still grow. We've also got Reece Nelson as a right midfielder, but I'm not gonna keep him here. I'm gonna send him back to Arsenal. We have made 3 sales. Tom Kearney, some Fulham fans might be pissed off. He's a club legend, but he's been sold to Bournemouth for 2.7 million. Timothy Castagne to Nottingham Forest, and Raúl Jiménez to Roma for 9.5 million. Which means that we are now up to 89 million in the bank. I want to keep it simple, 3 transfers maximum per season. And so as our first signing, we bring in a player used to play in the Premier League. He's 31 now, 81 rated, a centre midfielder. Played for Fenerbahce. We've just brought him back. It is Fred joining us for 20 million. How about throwing in the best we can get at right back, bringing him in. He's only 30, so just about eligible for our team. And he's 85 rated, coming from the Saudi League. In fact, a former Manchester City player in João Cancelo joining us from Al Hilal for 44 million plus Kenny Tete. How about for a final transfer of season 1, we go in for a centre-back who is replacing Anderson in a swap deal. He goes to Real Madrid, Anderson, and we get one 32-year-old who isn't really in favour anymore at Madrid. We get the Austrian David Alaba in return for Joachim Andersen, plus 12 million we had to forge out. Now this team is looking much better. Cancelo at right back, Alaba at centre back. He's 32-84 rated, Cancelo 30-85, Fred is 31-81 rated. He's giving us the firepower in midfield. Muniz I'm gonna trust for the first season. I have sold Adama Traore of all clubs to Manchester United for about 10 million. So we've got Wilson and the old man Willian as backup, Pereira and Reed in midfield, Cesenio as the left backup, to a very good Robinson. We found this Mason Carpenter guy in the youth academy, 1763 overall already. I'm gonna promote him and loan him out. We found further 3 players in the youth academy that we've put into our youth squad. Certainly Will Webb is the most exciting one. He's 1765 rated ACAM, 66 to 92 potential. A final youth intake, we found Teddy Brown, Ryan Price, two centre-backs, very interesting, just like Thomas Townsend, another centre-back. Kai Heath, a right-back, as well as Hugo Nichols, a centre defensive midfielder for the future. 3 of those 4 actually can get promoted and loaned out right away. Other CDM talent has been promoted in Luke Stanley, 1764 overall, an exciting prospect. And as you can see, most of these guys, Carpenter, Webb, Heath, Brown, Townsend and Booth have all been Premier League season. We finished in 11th place, smack bang mid-table, behind the likes of Man United even, who've had an okay-ish season if you compare it to real life, but Man City are the champions, clear runaway champions, 10 points ahead of Aston Villa, 11 ahead of Liverpool and 12 ahead of Arsenal. Spurs win the trophy, they win the FA Cup over Man United. We've been knocked out in round 3 by Man City, and the Carabao goes to Liverpool over Leeds of all teams. We still wait for our trophy, for our very first trophy, as we've been knocked out by Birmingham City. Not a bad season at all for the likes of Smith Rowe and Muniz, who've both grown +3. I also love that FIFA have brought back the pluses, so that you can see the growth of each player in each individual season. Willian has scored 11 goals, but he's gone down by 3. Even 8 goals and 6 assists by right back Cancelo. Yeah, he was the right man to bring in. I just don't know why Willian played so many games. We have Iwobi here, who's still not converted to a left winger. I've put him on that development plan at the start of the season. I don't know what happened there. Fred has gone up. We have Robinson, who is at an 83. Leno still at an 82, so we can keep him there. And Smith Rowe, of course, grown to an 81 overall. Let's remember, until we get Champions League football, we cannot buy any players younger than the age of 30. So we have to be very, very smart in terms of who we bring in next season. We will have around 64 million once again to spend in season 2. We've already made one sale in Issa Diop, who goes to Brighton for 13 million because we want to strengthen that centre-back spot. We might actually not need to go in for a new centre-back. Alaba and Bassi still doing their job. Bassi's still only 25, so I'm going to give him a year. Kuensa is also there on the bench. He's also only 25. Sesegna on the backup, also 25. So actually still a young core team, apart from, of course, the likes of Leno and Lukic, who I want to replace. I want to replace Lukic, that is for sure. How about we bring back a former Fulham star player who will once again come into that same role. At Bayern Munich, he wasn't really that successful. Didn't play enough games for his standing. It is João Palhinha coming in for 36 million from the German Giants. We have then gone on and sold Sasha Lukic to Bournemouth for 21 million. We didn't really need him anymore after the arrival of Palhinha. Our second signing for the season is going to be a new goalkeeper, only just turned 30, from Inter Milan in this save. Spanish goalkeeper Alex Remiro joining us for 38 million. We've done it, another player going to Bournemouth after Sasha Lukic, it is Bernd Leno, joining them for 14 million. Even Alex Iwobi has been sold for 40 million, he has gone to Chelsea. I mean, his release, he must have had a release clause or something. I don't believe this. Now absolutely need a new left winger because Willian is 37. Wilson, even though he's 77 rated, he's also 28. And a right winger. We will need to find a solution. Anyway, Willian is retiring at the end of the season. In terms of that left wing / left midfield spot, we've gone to Serie A, to Italy, to find a player from Lazio, from Rome, the capital. 30-year-old Mattia Zaccani joining us for 41 million, making that big step up to the Premier League. Much better looking team with Zaccani in there. Muniz, I'm hoping that he grows this season. We have Fred, who is the captain for some reason now, but Alaba still good at the age of 33. Robinson at the age of 28, also 83 rated. Bassi needs to grow. Cancelo is doing fine. Remiro has just come in. And Smith Rowe is also. That has gone much quicker than I anticipated. 4th place already. And so we are free to spend whatever money on whoever player we like. next season, as we finish on 70 points, same points than Manchester City, but somehow a better goal difference. Or was it actually a better goal difference? Yes, by 1. So quite lucky over there. Spurs are the league champions. In the FA Cup over Liverpool, we have been knocked out by Mansfield Town of all teams in round 3. And the Carabao Cup goes to Man City over Leicester. Here we've lost in the quarterfinals to West Ham. We'll of course already be a part of the Champions League, where this season Barcelona dismantled Real Madrid 4-0 in the Clásico final. The Europa League went to Newcastle United over Napoli on penalty shootout. And Chelsea wrap up another trophy for an English club over Rennes in the Conference League. Smith Rowe and Muniz have really delivered. That gives me a lot to think about going into next season. I maybe wanted to replace Muniz, but going up by 3, scoring 23 goals, I might not need to. Zakani also up by 1, 18 goals, 10 and 10 for Cancelo, who is also up to an 87 overall at the age of 32. And even 9 goals by Fred from centre midfield. We might need to replace Alaba though, as well as maybe Fred next season. Emphatic season. After the mid-table finish last season, we can now buy players who are 29 or even younger. Suits us well that we are on 138 million in our budget this season. As our first signing this season, we've decided to bring in a Juventus player, 24 years of age only. Of course, the rule for this season is lifted, as we are able to bring in Nicolo Rovella for 62 million from the Bianconeri. For about 60 million, we have removed both Fred and Andreas Pereira in our midfield. We've brought in Nicolo Rovella. We can bring in 2 more players as well. With a budget of around 130 million, that is not going to be a problem. How about bringing in a very young and very talented centre-back who's already quite highly rated, 23 years of age. It is Castello Luqueba joining us from Leipzig for 54 million. For our third and final transfer, we bring in someone young for present and future from the Italian league. It is Samuele Ricci joining us from Bologna for 45 million. Enabling us to sell both Sander Berge and David Alaba for good money, 45 million, both of those together. And now we have a very, very narrow, very depleted squad, but a very quality starting 11. Robinson, Bassi, Luqueba and Cancelo form the back 4. Ricci goes into that CDM spot. He's 25, 82 rated. A good man for present and future. Rovella, of course, even more talented. He's 24, 84 rated. 2 Italians in the midfield. A very strong front 3 with another Italian in there. Of course, we are in the Champions League for the very first time. And if we reach the Champions League again, so we make the top 4, that would be making the Champions League. Then we can, of course, again spend whatever we like on whoever we like. But if we fail to make it into the top 4, then we'll have once again to apply to the rules of only buying players 30 years. We have finished in 17th in the Champions League phase, which is not too bad in all honesty. 3 wins, 1 draw, 4 losses on 10 points, moving us to the playoff round, where we will be facing Lyon from France. Real Madrid are also in there, but we face Lyon. The league we are sitting pretty as well. In 3rd place, 4 points ahead of Villa, 6 ahead of Chelsea. Not too bad. Arsenal are 9 points ahead of us though, and City 6. We are in the playoff round facing Lyon, first at home, and it's a 3-1 win. Not a bad start. Wilson came on, scored, Mooney scored a brace, and we are up 3-1 going to France. It's the return leg at the OL Stadium. We're already 3-1 up and it's a 1-1 draw, putting us through quite easily, but Smith Rowe has been injured, which is not great. We are without both Rovella as well as Smith Rowe, which linders our chances against Bayern, and we do lose 2-1 at home. Against Bayern, Smith Rowe is still on the bench. He's not fully fit. Wilson plays. Rovella is back in the starting 11. And we are playing 2-2, but that is not enough. We are going out in the round of 16 to Bayern. We have established ourselves as a top 4 side, finishing in 3rd position, once again qualifying for Champions League football next season. Arsenal are the champions ahead of Manchester City, but we are only 5 points off them, 1 point ahead of both Aston Villa and Newcastle United. Manchester City win the FA Cup over Aston Villa. We've been knocked out in round 4 by Arsenal. However, we've won our very first trophy in the Carabao Cup, defeating Chelsea, the very first trophy in our club's history. Leverkusen win a nerve-wracking Champions League final over Barcelona on penalties. The Europa League goes to Galatasaray in the same nerve-wracking fashion, 3-all after 120 minutes, 4-2 on penalties. And the Conference League goes to Roma over Liverpool. Same on penalties again, 3 finals, all 3 decided on pens. Once again, Muniz delivering 25 goals for him, 24 for Zaccagni, who is up to an 86 overall at the age of 32, 16 and 10 for Smith Rowe, and even 8 goals and 10 assists for Joao Cancelo, who is up to an 88 overall. Very good season here, season 3. In the books, round 4 of the FA Cup, but winner of the Carabao, round of 16 of the Champions League, and 3rd in the Premier League. Can we go one step further in the 4th season? We have sold Mattia Zaccagni to Liverpool for 64 million. He didn't want to sign a new deal, and so we cashed in on him. And our budget is now up to about 250 million, and we have no restrictions this season as we've qualified once again for the Champions League. Certainly we'll need a new left winger, as well as probably a new centre-back. Otherwise I don't really see... Ricci doesn't really excite me either, so I'm not so sure about him as well. Even Muniz, even though he scores a lot of goals, he's only 82 rated, he needs to grow more, but I want to give him more time. And so the man replacing Mattia Zaccagni, who we just sold, is 2 overall higher, as well as about 8 years younger. He's coming from France, he's a big star over there. From PSG, his name is Bradley Barcola, joining us for 90 million. As I predicted, we are also bringing in a new centre-back, an Englishman for that English contingency. 24 years of age, 83 overall. It's Levi Colwill joining us from Girona for 50 million. I just thought, what is going on? What is Declan Rice doing at Bayer Leverkusen? Samuele Ricci's development plan takes so long for him to grow to the next overall. And so I thought, why not have the genius idea of a swap deal? And that's exactly what I've done, swapping out Samuele Ricci for Declan Rice. We've had to give 70 million as well, but we've got a top tier player in. That team right now is looking like an absolute threat, especially the first 11. The bench is still a bit iffy. We have Bassi on there right now. But Colwill, of course, taking the place of the same Bassi in the starting 11. Palhinha, the captain, along with Declan Rice. Mooney, still the striker. He's growing at a quite steady rate still. I've looked his development plan up as well. So is Smith Rowe. Barcola, we've just bought. He's 88 rated, our star player. And Remiro in goal is also games. We are in a title race in season 4 on 46 points, just 1 point behind Aston Villa of all teams. And we have made it through to the Champions League round of 16, finishing in 1st place. Only team that got more than 20 points, 21 to be precise. 7 wins and only 1 loss. We are playing RB Leipzig in the round of 16, first away from home. And it's a 1-all draw. Gertruda gets the equalizer after Rodrigo Muniz gave us the lead. Can we go through to the quarterfinals for the very first time against Leipzig? Yes, after extra time. Actually, Barcola saved us in the 83rd minute with the equalizer before we scored 2 more goals through Rodrigo Muniz and Rovella. Quarter-final time, we are facing Atletico Madrid, first at the Craven Cottage at home, and it's a 2-all draw. Barcola and Barcola, so twice Barcola, with a brace, and Girassi as well for Atletico Madrid, all square for the second leg. Here we are then at the Estadio Metropolitano in Madrid, 2-all from the first leg, and we win the second leg. Barcola with the only goal of the game, 3-2 on aggregate, we move to the semi-final. In the semi-finals, we are facing Inter Milan, the Italian giants. First at Craven Cottage again at home, and it's a 2-0 defeat. That is unlucky, that is bad. Lautaro and Bayer with the goals. Barcola missed the pen. Things are not looking good in the Champions League. Let's go to the San Siro and win 1-0, but we are still out due to a 2-0 defeat in the first leg. I mean, would the first leg have been a little bit closer, we would have gone through, but oh well. However, guys, there is some good news as we are the Premier League champions on 79 points, which is a low points total. 10 draws, 5 losses, 23 wins. We have done it. 5 points ahead of Aston Villa. Above Arsenal, we made the quarterfinals before getting knocked out by Arsenal. And the Carabao goes to Arsenal over Newcastle, while still we've been knocked out in round 3 right away by Millwall on pens, after winning that trophy, of course, last season. The Champions League goes to Real Madrid over Inter. The Europa League to Liverpool on penalties over Milan. And even the Conference League again goes to penalties. Lazio win that over Manchester United. That is why we brought Bradley Barcola in. 42 goals and 13 assists, 27 for Muniz, who is up to an 86 overall. That's what I wanted to see. Smith Rowe with 15 and 16, 12 and 17 for Rovella, and even 7 goals for Palinha. Very, very successful season. First in the Premier League, semi-finalists of the Champions League. The Cups haven't been that great, but first in the Premier is certainly something to write home about. Next season we'll try to go for the big one, the UEFA Champions League. At the start of Scene 5, we are bringing in a backup striker to back up Rodrigo Muniz, who is now, of course, our star man up front. Player coming in from La Liga in Sergio Camelo from Rayo Vallecano for 30 million. We've still got so much money and I'm thinking about doing something a little bit controversial, guys. The thing is, with Levi Colwill, he wasn't growing at the rate that was going fast, so I've decided to swap him out, even though he was only here for 1 season. I want to win now this season, that's why I've brought in Ibrahima Konate back to the Premier League from Inter for 30 million plus Colwill. If it was a longer term save, then yes, I would have kept Colwill, but not like this. We can win the Champions League this season. I felt like this was the only missing piece. I'm definitely going to rattle a few feathers here, as I've brought in another Englishman, another former Premier League player who in real life still plays in the Premier League at this moment. It is, of course, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Here he plays at Dortmund. In real life he'll go to Real Madrid. We've got him for 20 million plus an aging Joao Cancelo, who is already 34. Trent is only 29. Trent playing for Fulham, who would have thought the day would come, but oh well. Konate and Trent, both actually Liverpool players in real life. I've just this second realized, but we've gotten them from different clubs, of course. Konate and Lukeba are now a fantastic partnership. Robinson on the left, Alexander-Arnold on the right. We have still got Smith Rowe, Palinha in midfield at the age of 33. I'm a bit worried about him, but yeah. Camelo, Konate and Trent. We've also sold a few youth academy players. Teddy Brown, Tommy Booth and Thomas Townsend. 3 of those didn't really get into anywhere near the team. And they were stuck a little bit in their growth, so I've sold them. Mason Carpenter gets another loan deal. All the other youth academy players have been integrated into the squad. Example, Heath here on the bench, he's only 71 rated, but he's our backup right back. Stanley, the backup CDM. King, who was on loan, actually an OG Fulham player. He's up to a 75, an exciting prospect. And even Price and Harris have been integrated. After 24 games here this season in Season 5, we are sitting in 3rd place on 47 points, 6 points behind Manchester City. Once again in the Champions League, we finish in 1st place. Once again, the only team over 20 points. No defeats this time. 22 points. And that gives us a spot, of course, in the round of 16. Of course, guys, the first round we play in the knockouts is against Real Madrid in the round of 16. We've got a super team, but can we withstand Real Madrid? It's a 1-1 draw. Smith Rowe gave us the lead, Bremer with the equalizer. Second leg time at Craven Cottage, and we win 3-0, 4-1 on aggregate. Trent, Rice and Barcola with the goals. 4-1, we give Real Madrid a tonking here, wow. It's time for the quarterfinals and it couldn't get any more difficult of a path. Away to PSG next. Let's see how this goes. It's a 3-0 win. Wilson came off the bench and scored a brace in the second half. And even Barcola got one in the first. 3-0 away win. Great start. It is the second leg. We should be up comfortably enough to get an easy bye to the next round. And that's exactly what happens. Another win effectively. 2-1, 5-1 on aggregate. We absolutely destroy the Parisians. So, in the semi-finals, we are playing Borussia Dortmund. First at Craven Cottage at home, and it's a 1-1 draw. We came in front, but Brandt with the equalizer after Barcola's lead. It all comes down to this. Can we reach the Champions League final? Away at the BVB Stadium in Dortmund. Yes, it's a 4-1 demolition job. Away at Dortmund, we were 4-0 up through goals from Smith Rowe, Rodrigo Muniz, Barcola and the substituted Harris before Fabio Silva gave Dortmund the consolation, but we still win 5-2 on aggregate. And in the final we'll face yet another German team in RB Leipzig. As in the Premier League, in the end we dominantly nailed the Premier League title, even though we were 6 points behind after 24 games. In the end we are 6 points ahead of Manchester City and Arsenal in the FA Cup, and could make it a treble if we win the Champions League, defeating Liverpool in that cup final. The Carabao goes to Chelsea of Aston Villa. Here we've lost in the quarterfinals on penalties to Liverpool. Incredible amount of goals by Barcola, Smith Rowe and Muniz. 19 goals and 11 assists for 90 rated Rovella is crazy as well. Club that before we took over had never won a major trophy in its history can now make a historic treble happen. The only thing they need to do is win this game at Old Trafford against the German side, RB Leipzig. Leipzig have got some ballers like this Ethan Nwaneri guy. They've got Kamawinga in midfield, a world-class midfield. And Nwaneri, of course, a wonder kid. Marmouche even, former City player who brings them already ahead. 5 minutes in, Leipzig take the lead through Omar Marmouche. Yes, Captain Joao Palhinha. Palhinha looking to unleash Rodrigo Muniz. This is Rodrigo Muniz. 1-1. What a strike by our striker. Our goal scorer. Our machine up front. What a strike. End-to-end stuff here. This is Rice. Now Declan Rice again looking for Rodrigo Muniz. Muniz turns the defender. Yes, Joao Palhinha, Barcola now, Barcola still, he's so technical, it's actually a joke. Now Rice, Declan Rice, going for it, this is a chance with the header, no, we can't get the rebound, still Rice though, into Muniz, what a striker, what a goal scorer, goal poacher. We turned the game around within 29 minutes and it is right foot, left foot. Simons, Xavi Simons, great effort with the outside the boot, good save. And Alexander-Arnold, he's of course good going forward, but then does this. He's a great passer and then does this, gives the ball away cheaply. And now Leipzig could capitalize on this opportunity, but Rice stands his ground again, Trent, with a mistake, giving the ball away once more. But now we've got it finally. Smith Rowe. Looking to unleash Muniz again. Muniz looking for Barcola, who looks back for Muniz. That was too fast of a shot taken, but Robinson on the rebound. Yes, Konate trying something from distance that's never working because it doesn't dip. Is Nwaneri into Šeško, a bit of luck, gets the ball back, and Simons equalizes. Xavi Simons with the equalizer in the 53rd minute, out of nothing. Rice. Wow, we can open Muniz up again. This is Rodrigo Muniz with a hat-trick. It is his night. Even though Leipzig are playing football, scoring 2 goals, we are scoring 3 to 1 person. It is 1 person scoring all 3 goals. This is Marmouche, Omar Marmouche going into the penalty box, past Konate. Going back, now Moriba again, into Marmouche, it's blocked and Remiro collects. It's Barcola going for it. Bradley Barcola going for it on the left wing, our star player. Still Barcola. Barcola going all by himself and missing by an inch. We are bringing on the likes of Cameo, our backup striker. Even Wilson for Smith Rowe and King for Rovella. Now Wilson. Can he find Cameo, who can look for his goal as well? This is Cameo sealing the deal. Sergio Cameo knows he's just sealed it. This is the 4th goal. Camelo was on for 4 minutes and this all immediately had an impact, scoring a joker goal. It is 4-2 to our goods. Only a few seconds remaining. Let's not gift them a goal as Rice brings the ball forward, and that is game, set and match. We win 4-2, dominate the Champions League final, score 4 goals and win deservedly so, making Fulham treble winners. Not only have we won their first ever trophy, the Carabao Cup, back 2 seasons ago, but also the Premier League last season already, this season again with the FA Cup, and now the Champions League. It's been an unbelievably successful journey with a club that had never won a major trophy before. I'm sure the likes of Jared HT are going to be very happy right now, as Fulham in a few moments time are going to be crowned champions of Europe. If you enjoyed this video, guys, then by all means, as usual, please consider dropping a like on the video, subscribing to the channel, and also tell me in the comments what else you'd like to see next. I'm going to say, until next time, it's been Rebuild Sombrero. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy the celebrations. I'm out.